I'm Shannon, standing in the living room, watching my father, Henry, being dragged out into the blizzard. I felt a mix of relief and disbelief. Just moments ago, he was the one in control, the tyrant of this house. Now, he was the one being banished, his face purple with rage and disbelief. It all started on Christmas Eve, when the temperature dropped to a bone-chilling 10 degrees Celsius. I had returned to my childhood home after my tech startup in Silicon Valley failed. I was broke, in debt, and my self-esteem was in tatters. Henry, a wealthy but narcissistic businessman, and his new wife, Victoria, welcomed me in, but only on the condition that I endured their constant criticism. At dinner, I made the mistake of commenting that the turkey was dry. Henry, with his fragile ego, flew into a rage. He locked me out in the snow, telling me I needed to learn some respect. I watched through the window as Victoria and their daughter, Lily, opened presents, while I shivered outside. An hour later, a sleek black limousine pulled up. My grandmother, Eleanor, a powerful and shrewd businesswoman, stepped out. She was worth billions, having built a global real estate empire from the ground up. Seeing me shivering, she looked at the house and simply said, "Demolish." Before I could fully understand what was happening, 2 security agents in black suits emerged from the car. They lifted me out of the snow and placed me in the back of the limo. Inside, the air was warm and smelled of expensive leather. Across from me sat Eleanor, looking every bit the CEO she was. She tossed a heavy wool coat at me and said, "Put your arms through. Hypothermia is a lousy way to go, Shannon." I struggled to put it on, as my teeth chattered. Looking out the window, I saw Henry standing in the living room, raising a glass of champagne, looking like a king. Eleanor dissected the situation, saying, "He locked you out because he feels small. Your suffering is his power." She then pressed a button on the intercom and told the driver to cut the power to the house. The lights in the mansion flickered and died. Henry stood there, frozen in shock. Eleanor explained that I hadn't failed. I'd been sabotaged. Henry had used his influence to scare off my investors, knowing that one day, the family estate and the entire family business, which were in a blind trust, would be transferred to the first female heir on her 26th birthday. And that was me. She tapped on the console, and a live feed from the house's security cameras appeared. I saw Lily opening the laptop that I'd salvaged from my company's liquidation. Victoria was complaining about the power outage ruining the party, and Henry was pouring another drink, not caring about me in the snow. Eleanor picked up a phone and said, "Execute phase 2. Enter the premises." The security agents walked towards the house. When we entered, the living room was in chaos. Henry tried to put on a show, acting like a misunderstood father. But Eleanor was having none of it. She introduced Mr. Thompson, a high-powered lawyer, who presented evidence of Henry's lock-out, which could be considered attempted manslaughter in many places. Henry laughed it off, saying he owned the house. But Eleanor pulled out a thick legal document from Mr. Thompson's briefcase and said, "You have a forgery. The real deed was signed 26 years ago, and it names Shannon as the beneficiary." Henry's face turned pale as he read the document. He accused me of planning this, but I truly had no idea. Victoria called me a failure, saying I couldn't run an estate. But Eleanor countered that I'd been sabotaged. Mr. Thompson then informed Henry that, technically, as of midnight, he was trespassing. I walked over to Lily and took my laptop back. When Mr. Thompson asked me what I wanted to do, I knew exactly. I want him out. Now, and they leave with only what they're wearing. Eleanor smiled proudly. The security guards dragged Henry out into the snow. I walked to the window, placed my hand on the cold glass, and watched him stumble in the snow. I whispered, "Demolish," and pulled the curtain cord, shutting out the cold and the man who had made my life a misery. Eleanor walked over to the bar, poured 2 drinks, and handed me one. "Welcome home, Shannon. This is how you take back control. If you've ever had to endure hardship to find your strength, know that you're not alone. Share your stories, and let's all be survivors."